and Armistice Day. And what have we done? Like we've done with education, we've taken the real meaning of those holidays and stripped them away. We have taken, for example, well, let me tell you how the founders thought. John Adams wrote that right after the Declaration was passed, that he wrote this to Abigail, his wife. He said, Independence Day would be marked by pomp and parade, shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end to the continent, from this time forward and forevermore. And he was right. We still had the fireworks and the parades and all that. But he also wrote, it ought to be commemorated as the day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized. I don't know about you, but the last time I had a hot dog at a 4th of July party was not a particularly solemn occasion. And we've done that with all of our civic holidays. We've taken Washington, the day that, and he has a remarkable story from when he sparked a skirmish in the forest, which became the explosion, that sparked self-explosion, which became the French and Indian War. The French and Indian War created taxation without representation. Taxation without representation started the first Tea Party. The first Tea Party started the American Revolution. The American Revolution had Washington return as the general in charge of the Continental troops, which won the improbable war of revolution and independence, which led to him becoming the presiding chair of the Constitutional Convention, which led to him becoming the first president of the United States, and the second because he was elected again. And then he stepped down, at which point his nemesis, George III, the king, who a generational nemesis the whole time, said, Washington is the greatest character of the age. We don't teach that story anymore. Why? Because we take Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday, the great emancipator, switch them together so that we can have carpet sales and appliance sales. Right? That's what we do with those holidays. So we can have that extra day so that we can go out north. And Memorial Day, where Nike can say, Happy Memorial Day. How does that work? It's like, Happy Yom Kippur. You don't say that. It just doesn't make sense. So I happen to have a very precocious and beautiful and smart and gregarious daughter. And we were having lunch one day when she was 10. And I was a year younger. And she said, I said, you know, honey, this is such a sad thing, because I've been thinking about this. She said, you know, Dad, we need to do something. We need to do something. This is wrong. I said, okay, absolutely. And I had been reading an article on Kwanzaa. Now, Kwanzaa, at that same lunch, and Kwanzaa is, some people think it's an old African holiday, it's been imported over from Africa. Nope, it is a made-up holiday. There's a California State University professor in the 60s decided African Americans needed a separate holiday to celebrate their culture, and he took words from Swahili, brought them over, and the 7 candles and 7 pillars is based on the Jewish menorah. And I said to Leah, you know, the professor could do that, and millions of people now celebrate it. Hey, it's a pretty good holiday. Why can't we do something for America? She said, yes, Dad, we're going to do that, absolutely. So we sat down and we looked at the calendar and figured out the September 11th. So we decided to copy the Kwanzaa's copying of Judaism. Okay? We looked at the calendar and decided we wanted to do a week, and we figured out September 11th, the anniversary of the terrorist attacks, which most of us know about, but the young kids don't get it all, from my experience, through the 17th of September, which is the anniversary of the signing of the Constitution. That's a 7-day period by divine intervention. And each day we celebrate a founding first principle, the ones I've talked about, key patriots and founding fathers and others who made it come alive in America. And we've split up equality, so we have racial equality and gender equality. In racial equality, for example, we celebrate Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., and Frederick Douglass. And gender equality, and we've really forgotten the struggles the suffragists have gone through. There's a lot of women in here, so you owe them a lot. But Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, we celebrate them. And Washington and Lincoln, Madison and Jefferson and some others. And then we celebrate key documents and speeches which made they come alive in America. Those, the 9th Amendment, 10th Amendment, Bill of Rights, the Constitution, Emancipation Proclamation, etc. And then, because my daughter's a genius, a historical flag that represents those symbols, or those principles, such as the Gadsden flag. Usually there's a Gadsden flag when I speak, but that's the one with the snake. Don't tread on me. unalienable rights. Your local flag, state flag for federalism, for limited government. The Betsy Ross flag. There's a lot of flags. The suffragists had a flag that they marched in their rallies. Most people have forgotten about it. It's a really cool flag. They sewed stars in when the suffragists ratified the states ratified the 19th Amendment. So that was an idea in the late winter last year. Went to Mike Bishop and said, Mike Bishop, this is a great thing. Will you support it? He said, absolutely. We got a Senate resolution last year, about 20 different participants, a bunch of schools, some media outlets, etc. It was a very good start. This year, we just celebrated it. We had people in Ohio and Colorado and Arizona and New York. We had, I lost count of how many activities and participants we had. We had homeschools, private schools, public schools, charter schools, pre-K, all the way to law schools. We had a big picnic, which I think a few of you were at. We had, with the Revolutionary War reenactors and some good food and some fun. And we had an event at the community house where we had somebody here before us. Wave your hand. He spoke as he came as a naturalized citizen from the USSR and talked about what it was like to live there, why he's become an American citizen. A lot of different events. This is a way to renew the spirit of America. That's our logo. Because again, it's in our hearts and minds. If we take a week out every year to remind people about what it's like to, because the other holidays, they're all dead. I mean, we're never going to change what we do. So we need to start a new celebration. I have a sign-up sheet over there that, please, if you're interested, it's emails. I won't bombard you. Trust me, you won't get nearly as much email from me as you get from SOAR. Okay? Good. And
I can't dispute that.
I have some brochures, an executive summary that goes through that. We have a great website. It's filled with information. We've got movies and bulletins, all kinds of things that you can do. And this is something you go to we have Rotaries and Kiwanis, we're trying to get churches involved, senior centers, senior living communities. This is not just for schools, it's for adults. So the adults need it just as much as anybody else. You all have some connection someplace that you could bring it to your community organization. You folks here, SOAR could do something next year, but also you have individual contacts that you can do something. So I'd implore you to do that. I also, as I said before, have books for sale, American Survival Guide. And now, I'm almost done, but I want to relate to you the final message. America will only survive as long as there are people that are willing to fight for it. We cannot depend upon inertia to protect our freedoms and liberties. We are America. And there's a lot of people out there that don't care. They're complacent. They're watching the plasma wall. Which means it's absolutely incumbent upon us to be that patriot, like Thomas Paine said, to stand up when it's hard, to fight for America, when nobody else will, to ensure our freedom and liberty. The forces of history despise America. We are very unique. We're a little pinprick in the history of mankind, which believes in people and freedom and liberty, when the rest of world history is all about suppressing normal people and giving power to those elites that are in control. Tyrannies, despots, military juntas, whatever you want to call it. We are very unique, but we are at a precipice. And the forces of darkness are trying to push us into the precipice so that we're just like all the other countries in the world and to snuff out the last greatest hope for freedom in the world. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm going to fight like hell every single day for our liberty. Please join me. God bless you, and God bless America.